Hi, how's it going? I'm Jason. I love music, I love electronic music, and I love the gear we use to make it. And in this series, I'm going on a bit of a mission to find a new sound for myself. And as you know, I've been starting to borrow from musicians and producers to learn from them. And I want to start to draw some things together in order to, like I said, come to my own sound, because I think that's a really important process to go through. The last two videos, I've been drawing heavily from deadmau5, especially his bass lines and his melodies. Today, I'm taking a bit of a turn for part of this video. I've been really inspired lately by metal, and this is kind of returning back to my youth, so to speak. And so I wanted to try to blend in some metal guitar elements in with this track. And I'm using my Eventide H90 and the Sculpt algorithm to achieve kind of more of that sort of tone. And I'm gonna be experimenting with kind of doubling the bass line, the melody, those sorts of things. And we're kind of just gonna see where we come to. So here's the project that you see in front of you. And this is including the bass line, and I'm gonna also include some shots that I've added. Later on in another video, I'm gonna explore kind of how I made those, but I want them there for context. And then I've got the deep bass and the kick here, as you can see. So just by way of review, here's how the track is sounding so far. So there you go. The very first time we talked about how I made the bass line on the take 5 and then including some sub bass. And then last time we looked at how I made the melody, and I ended up going with the Jupiter, this guy right here, and keeping a pretty simple patch going on, just a sawtooth wave and some noise, using the beautiful filter, and also putting it in unison mode, stacking up those unison voices and detuning it a little bit. Also, you can kind of bring in a touch of cross modulation for good measure. Right? I just thought that sounded really nice and big and perfect. I wanted that kind of analog sound. Okay, today, let's try adding some guitars to this. And one of the places I wanted to start was to see if I can get kind of some chugging 16th note guitars going on that are kind of doubling the bass line. And I just want to see what that sounds like. Like, this video is all about exploration, so we're just going to give it a try. And I've been kind of working on something ahead of time here because it's a pretty fast pace. So let me get out my guitar. So here's kind of the guitar line that I'm going to use. So it's, as you can hear, it's kind of combining the bass line as well as doubling that melody. And then I'm going to use like a doubling trick to make it sound pretty big and pretty expansive. So let's cue it up, and I'm going to try playing along. Good. I'm happy with that take. I'm going to double it now. So here we go. Good. Good. I think that sounds pretty good. Let's hear that together, and then I'll break it down a little more on how I created that. I kind of dig that. Here it is with the pumping effect on it. So essentially what I'm using is the tremolo, and I'm using the ducking and the short. And then I've kind of like lowered the depth, I guess you could say, so that it's not cutting it out completely. And you can kind of dial that into how it sounds best. So here it is with the tremolo. Actually, it sounds pretty good with the tremolo all the way up. So I don't know what you think. Love to hear your thoughts in the comments here. I think it's always tough to blend styles of music. So this was kind of my first thought. And here, let me just show you how I break that line down. So the song is in E minor, so it works out perfectly. Right? I can just kind of ride that low E. And then to kind of create some interest, I'm doing a pull off on the B, because the melody goes, right? So I'm kind of chugging with the E, and then I'm doing a pull off with the B, and then up to that first melody note. Right? And then the trickier part is the second half. It goes up the octave. That part's tricky. So that's kind of the whole thing. So it's that. And then it. And I'm just kind of for that ending part. So kind of adding in what you would call like a little bit of a polymeter. Like you're taking a grouping of 16th notes with a rest, and you're repeating that over time. And yeah, it creates that kind of a cool polymeter sound. So something the metal uses, but also something that deadmau5 uses that they use in techno. Okay, so that's the rhythm guitar doubling the bass line. Something I also wanted to add was a lead part. And there's a couple of options that I'm thinking about here. The first one I'm going to add is where I'm going to kind of ride the B string. That kind of a sound, like that. So let's just see how it sounds. I'm going to be kind of doubling the melody again, but riding the B just to add like, you know, an extra layer. Okay, so that second half of it, I think, had something to work with. Let's just hear what it sounds like. I'm going to add that delay. I've got the tape delay going pretty strongly, and it's going nice and spread out, 8th note dotted. So let's hear how this sounds. I kind of like that. I think it kind of creates a cool atmosphere to it. But the other thing I wanted to try too was kind of like a palm muted arpeggio type thing with a lot of delay. So here's how that would sound. Okay, so let's give this a try. Just gonna play along with. Let's just hear how that sounds. Just adding to the atmosphere. Is that a pump? I think that is. I think that's got some promise to it. Love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What are some other ideas that you can think of to kind of add the guitar element to this? One more thing I can think of is to double the lead up higher, maybe even up the octave. That could sound cool. A little bit of fun at the end. Okay, that first one didn't sound that great, but the second one did. So let me get that first one again. Good. Let's hear what those two sound like. A little compression. Ratio up high, threshold, little makeup. Okay, so now that this is all here, I've got some options to play with. We can kind of mix and match, see if they all sound good, see if some of them sound better than others. So one of the things I'm curious about, is taking away the two rhythm guitars and just kind of keeping those two lead guitars. So let's see what that sounds like. I don't know about you, I kind of like that because the lead guitar part is a little more subtle, like that palm muting thing. And then that melody guitar part sounds really cool. It still brings in that metal aspect for the lead. But then, okay, let's try it just those two rhythm guitars again. Let's try EQing this a little more dramatically. Does this need delay? Let's check it out. So I kind of like it with that delay in there. I feel like that kind of brought it back into the right kind of atmosphere for the track. Okay, let's try those two with the lead. Maybe the lead needs the ducking. I don't know. What do you think? I'm going to add the snare drum and the two snare drums I've been working on just so you can hear it with like a bigger sound going on. This is just with that palm muted lead. Bring back all these. Yeah, so be really curious to see what you think about that. I've brought in some kind of more metal elements, bringing in the distorted guitar for lead aspects, for kind of arpeggiated aspects, and for that good slashing kind of rhythm guitar sound. Maybe it doesn't fit. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow and think, you know what, I don't know if I'm liking that vibe being brought in, or maybe there's like certain parts of this that are keepers that we can add as a texture. Maybe it doesn't have to be for the whole song, but can be for a certain part of it, you know. Would love to hear your thoughts. Here's where I think it's really powerful when I can get comments on this stuff so that I can kind of hear real time what you think works, what you think doesn't work. And then also if you have any suggestions, like other ways that I can be incorporating the guitar, especially that kind of more metal aspect. So I'm going to leave it off there for today. And in the coming weeks, I want to talk a bit more about drums. And I also want to talk a bit more about ear candy with the synthesizers, especially using some more modern elements from like a wavetable synth like Pigments. So stay tuned for those. And as usual, if you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. My name's Jason. Till next time, take care. Bye.